5 years ago, I won a Golden Crown, which is an international comedy award, so check that off. Wanted to perform in Times Square on New Year's Eve, and I did a show there a few years ago. Check that off. One of my comic heroes was Steve Martin. How many of you know who Steve Martin is? Awesome. I got to do a movie with Steve Martin called Simple Twist of Fate. Don't be impressed. I had one line, it got cut. But I got to hang out with Steve Martin for 2 weeks and got paid to do it, so check. But there's one or two items on a bucket list you're like, that'll never happen. But I'm going to put it on there anyway. And one of those for me, I never dreamed it would come true. And one of mine was to actually perform or speak on a Tuesday at a gun club in Kennesaw. So, wow. Check that one off. So I'm on my way. I got to tell you, I thought about what to do today, and I got to give you a background. I want to leave you with a couple pieces to take with you. That comedy has gotten me into doors and around people that I just think, why am I here? How does this work? How do I get there? Not just be around them, but some of the most successful people in every walk of life. I've met 3 Heisman Trophy winners, several Super Bowl coaches. My wife and I were at an event 2 weeks ago where I was performing, and I got to hold the Lombardi Trophy. And I'm just like, this is crazy. And not only that, but he mentioned I was in a room one time with 80 CEOs, CFOs, and COOs of 80 of the top Fortune 100 companies in the world. And I was on the stage, I'm like, what? And not only that, but I think it'd be like, am I going to be nervous? And I thought, I don't belong here, so why would I be nervous? And I asked the organization who brought me in, I said, how did it go? And they said, well, pretty darn good. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, all these guys were here to introduce this, and you laid the groundwork for that, and we literally, that one event, we sold more software than any other time in the history of the company in a one event. And I was like, well, how much was that? He said, over $120 million worth in 3 days. And I said, I did not charge you enough. So it's just one of those where I'm around these people, but I'm around these successful people, and I found myself asking a couple questions because I discovered they're just people. They're real people. And I said, I'm thinking, how did you get to where you are? So I asked 1 or 2 questions. You can forget everything else today. I promise you, if you'll take these 2 questions, when you're around successful people, ask them. One is just simply this. What's a truth or principle that you've applied that got you here? What's one truth or principle? And then my second favorite is, okay, if you could go back 25 years and had 5 minutes with you 25 years ago, what would you tell you that you know now that you wish you knew then? And can I tell you, there's always stories, and they're always incredible. But what I started to discover over years of doing this is that these guys and ladies were not successful because of talent or opportunity or ability. It was choices that they made. And they all fell in one of these 4 categories. And I don't have time to do all 4 today, but I want to share 2 of them with you today. One of them was, I can't think of the best way to start other than an example. I met Danny when he was a freshman at Florida. I was performing there, got to meet him. Over the years, we reconnected. He ended up doing really well, won a Heisman Trophy, won a national title, went on to a 7-year pro career. And we just stayed in touch. And we were playing golf one day, and I said, Danny, what was the biggest jump? Was it high school to college or college to the pros? And he said, definitely high school to college. I said, not the pros? He said, no, everybody's fast and huge and great in the pros. But the adjustment from high school to college, he said, Ken, I played in the SEC. And he says, it was a super hard adjustment because we would practice every day, train every day on how to, and he used the word dial in. And I said, what do you mean? He says, Ken, I'll walk you through one situation. He says, I've got 30 seconds, 5 seconds to get the play from the sideline. Then I've got about 3 to 5 seconds to assimilate and make sure I've got the right personnel. Then I call the play. We break the huddle, go to the line. Then I got about another 3 seconds to assimilate the defense, their personnel, and everybody on the right set for this play. And then I say go. And I have 2 to 2.5 seconds to make a decision. He says, Ken, there's times where I'm literally in the back and my arm is coming forward and I still have not made the final decision. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I've so learned to dial in, and in this particular play, I'm walking 1 defensive back. I'm tuning out the 300-pound people who are trying to cripple me for life. I'm tuning out the 100,000 people that are screaming while I'm trying to do my job. And it's one defensive back. If his hips are left, I'm going 7 yards on that route. If his hips are right, I'm going 15 yards on the same line, and we have synchronized to come in at the same time. He says, and then the whistle blows, and we do it again. And I get the call, and I assimilate this. I'm like, that's unbelievable. That's amazing. That ability to dial in. And what I've found is successful people have that ability to, and I'll give you the word, and you'll remember the word this way. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates met for the first time in person at a party. Bill Gates' father went to both of them independently at that party and said, hey, if you could boil what it takes to be successful into one word, what would it be? And both of them said, I'm going to have to think about that. And he said, well, just write it on a piece of paper and give it to me. Course of the evening, they did. They gave him the piece of paper. He put it in 2 pockets. He gets home that night, and he pulls out the one piece of paper, and he sees it. He pulls out the other, and they have not talked to each other about this, wrote the exact same word. And the word was focus. The ability to focus. Now, I don't know if you realize this or not, but we live in a time and in a society that has more choices and distractions than any other time in the history of the world. Do you agree or disagree? Agree. If you doubt me, let me ask you a question. When's the last time you sat in front of a TV with a remote control and went through 900 channels and there was nothing on? There's too many choices. And we're inventing more choices, and we're inventing solutions to problems that nobody has. I'll give you my favorite example. My kids every year, Dad, here's your favorite candy. Oh, they mock me with it. It's been out about 15 years now. Mini M&Ms. Have you seen them? Yes. Why? Why did we need that choice? Were people sitting around eating regular M&Ms going, oh dang, I can't finish a whole one. Just wish they would make these small. Put that in some foil and eat the rest of that later, right? No. It's amazing. Then I was in a hotel out in Vegas a few weeks ago, and I go in. I love hotels. I don't have to make the bed. I don't have to bring really anything. They have a little shampoo and conditioner, and I went to grab it. At this hotel, they did not have shampoo and conditioner. They had wash, tame, soften. I'm like, I'm not doing laundry. What is this? So, but I was in a hurry, so I grabbed it, and I get in the shower. I'm like, wash. I think that was shampoo. I'm pretty sure it was. Tame, conditioner. I'm pretty sure that was it. And I'm like, soften. I didn't even know I was supposed to soften. Maybe that's why I'm losing my hair. So I soften. Turns out that's lotion. Called the front desk. You got a bottle of fix it because my hair is all messed up. There's so many choices and so many distractions that I believe with all my heart we are creating more distractions. And if you doubt that, just watch people walking around in the midst of hundreds just staring at a phone while there's people around them. We are distracted. Successful people know how to focus. And can I tell you that I believe we are born with that desire and that ability, every one of us. But we have to make a choice to do that. The reason I believe that was years ago, we decided, we were at a little church at that time, decided to have a big Easter egg hunt for Easter. Collected eggs for months. We had over 3,000 Easter eggs for that Easter. My boys were 4 and 5, and that Easter we're ready for the Easter egg hunt at the church, and it rained. And we're like, oh my word, what are we going to do? But there was an elementary school next door that said, you can use our gym. Now, have you been to an elementary school gym? There's no bleachers, just a floor. So we hid 3,000 Easter eggs on this floor. And we lined the kids up, youngest to oldest, and my rough and tumble Cody, he's like, can I go? I'm like, buddy, you gotta wait for your age, and he's 4, and it's okay, 1-year-olds go, and there were 38 kids to hunt 3,000 Easter eggs. Do the math. If your kid does not have a full basket, he's what we call a loser, okay? I mean, there's that many eggs. And they finally got to the 4-year-olds, and my son's kid, can I go? I'm like, wait for it. He says, okay, 4-year-olds, go. Now, there are hundreds of eggs right here. He starts running, kicking eggs, crushing eggs. And I'm cringing, going, dude, and he gets to half court, and he reaches down, he turns around, and he goes, I found one! I said, great. Get another one. And he starts looking around. I'm like, look down. Just look down. And he starts running again. And it becomes brings chaos. They let the other ages go, and my oldest son walks up, a basket overflowing with eggs. My rough and tumble Cody walks up. He goes, Dad, I think I got him. And I'm thinking, all right. I turned around, I went, whoa. He had a basket full, not of Easter eggs. He had a basket full of only purple Easter eggs, his favorite color. He was not distracted by 3,000 eggs. He knew his focus was on his favorite. And I'm here to tell you, as I've walked through my career and my business, it's saying, okay, where do I need to focus and what do I need to focus on? And let me ask you this, and you can answer it to yourselves, but how many of you started out this week with the focus of writing down, for this week to be a success, X, Y, Z, these things have to happen. We get so caught up in just going, doing, that we never stop to focus and say, is this really it? Is this what I need to focus on? And there's a second choice that these people make, and I learned it kind of passively. I'm a good guy. And if I say, hey, is there anything I can do for you, let me know, I mean it. But I learned this second word years ago. My daughter, our youngest, is 17. When she was 4, she was diagnosed with cancer. And I will never forget that 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days of treatment. But one of the amazing gifts was I learned this second word. And it started almost immediately. We had people that set up a food chain, so every Monday when we went to clinic, we had dinner just waiting for us. It was my friend, I'll call him Royce, because that's his name. And Royce stopped by my house with his landscaping crew, and he said, hey, I just want you to know we're praying for your daughter. I just want you to know this year we're going to do your yard. And I said, Royce, if you just do it once or twice, let me figure out what's going on. I appreciate it. He goes, no, we're going to do it all year. And I said, well, if you could do it for like a month, that would be great. He goes, you're not getting it. We're doing it all year. And you know what he gave me was not just a fantastic yard. It was amazing, but he gave me time that I didn't even know I was going to need. And I started seeing this word pop up over and over. Just different things got done that I didn't even know who did them, and I didn't ask for them, they just got done. And I saw this in one of the dads, and I'm like, I'm doing that. Kind of this word in action. My wife called me, I came off tour, she said, brace yourself. The intensive has kicked in, and Kennedy lost the last little bit of her hair. And I walk in, and here's this beautiful blue-eyed, little bald-headed little girl. I said, Kennedy, I love your haircut. She said, thanks, and she rubbed her head, and I said, Kennedy, I want your haircut. She said, okay. I said, I want you to give it to me. Now, let me just say, you haven't lived till you have a 4-year-old give you a haircut, okay? Real buzzer, real scissors on the front porch, bzzz. I think she plucked half of it out, but bzzz. My wife came out halfway through, she goes, oh, wow. She said, you look like you have mange. And I was like, I know. She said, I don't know if I can fix it. And I said, baby, you don't have to. I'm bicking my head. It's all coming off. And we read Bix that night, and I'll never forget that first night. My daughter was so excited, she couldn't focus on the book. She's like, Daddy, and she's rubbing her head on my head. She goes, Daddy, we're bald buddies. And I'm like, yes, we are. I wanted her to know you're not alone in this. And she said, Daddy, Mommy said my hair might go back curly. Can I have curly hair? And I said, yes. I think God is going to let you have curly hair, and they call it chemo curls, and it came out curly. And she said, I want curly hair. And she goes, Daddy, how is yours going to grow back? I said, baby, I just hope it does grow back. And I learned this word. This word is simply those who are successful have an uncommon desire, ability, and decision to take initiative. To take initiative. They don't ask permission. They don't ask for recognition. They just see a need and do something. And successful people do that. And as these words really came from a lot of different sources, but I told my boys when they were growing up, they started getting to double digits. I said, guys, I hope you're a great basketball player, a great athlete, but I'm here to teach you to be a great man. And let me just tell you, if you get these 4 words, you make these 4 choices, I don't care what you do, you're going to succeed. And I've seen this happen over and over. Now, it's not a passive initiative. It's not passive. I was on a Delta flight one time. I was 4 hours late leaving, and then I'm just frustrated because now my whole trip's messed up. And I remember the captain came on, he was, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be cruising at 30,000 feet. Thanks so much for flying with us. Sorry about the short delay. And I'm like, short delay? He says, if there's anything we can do, here, just password up to the flight deck. I thought, he does not mean that. And I started doodling on a napkin. The lady next to me started dying laughing. And I was like, what? She goes, that's hysterical. And the flight attendant walked by. She goes, what are you laughing about? Nobody on this plane is happy. And she said, you got to see his napkin. She looked at it. She started laughing, tucked it into her apron, and walked away. What I did not know is that she took it up to the flight deck. What the note said was, dear Captain, the following would make my flight more enjoyable. A foot massage. A foot massage. B, a barrel roll. I've never done a barrel roll. That would make my flight more enjoyable. Or C, arrive on time. At the end of the flight, she came back, dropped the napkin in my lap, and I was like, what is this? I looked, the captain had written, would you like a left or right barrel roll? It's not that initiative. It's the initiative that just sees a need and does something. My second son, who right now, he's a pilot, right now he is flying with an FAA instructor to get certified. And I'll never forget, one of our friends told me one time, said, hey, I saw Cody today, I gotta tell you what he did. And I was like, oh no, if you're a parent, you know that feeling. She goes, no, it's not a no. She said, I was at the grocery store walking in and I heard a commotion. A lady opened her back gate and boxes fell everywhere. And she said, I thought, oh, bummer for her. And she says, then I saw a flash through the parking lot and it was Cody. He just went over, he didn't ask anything. He just picked up all the boxes. He said, where are we going? She goes, oh, I'm going to the UPS store, but you don't have to do that. He goes, I already got it. You just get the door. And he followed her over there. She said, I saw him in the Kroger a few minutes later. She said, Cody. He said, oh, hey, Miss Vic. He gave me a big hug. She said, I saw what you did. He was like, oh, no, what did I do? She goes, no, it's not bad what you did for that lady. And he goes, oh, that was nothing. She goes, no, it was something. She needed help, and you just did that. That was amazing. And I'm telling you, I could die in peace after what she said, what he said next. He goes, oh, that's just what my dad would do. And I'm like, oh, he gets it. He gets initiative. And it's initiative in the hard times as well. And I'm going to land it with two stories. One is about my oldest son. I'm incredibly proud. He worked for 4 years, University of Georgia grad, but for 4 years he paid to do an internship in the music industry. Then he got his expenses covered. Then he got paid a little bit, and then he was graduating, and he had an offer from William & Morris, a huge agency in Nashville, and he was lined up to do every major festival in the country and get paid for the position he had worked for. And then COVID happened, and he lost everything. But he learned this word. And he's like, Dad, I got a part-time job at the diner. If you go to the West Cobb Diner, ask for Graham, and you'll see what I mean. Because he said, not only do I have a part-time, I'm going to do it full-time. And he got it to where he could work 5 doubles a week. And not just work there, not just bide his time. He said, you know what? What is the most anybody has made working 2 shifts in sales? And he's doubled that on a daily basis. And he's got a chart. And he's just, I'm like, dude, I am unbelievably proud, but I'm even more impressed that you have taken total crap and made unbelievable out of it. See, but it's a rare ability, and I want to close with this. I've got a friend from college. He was the mayor of Warner Robins. And we went to play golf one time after he'd been in office for about a year, and he said, Ken, I have no idea what I was thinking. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, the previous mayor's in jail for embezzlement. And the first week I was in office, he said, I won the office, but he says there were a line of about 300 people waiting to see me. And he said after about 3 or 4, he says they were mad and they had an issue. And he said, I was just like, okay. And he says after about the 3rd or 4th one, he told my administrator, hey, hold them outside. I need a minute. He said, I literally got on my knees behind my desk and said, God help, I made a mistake. Is there a back door? Can I get out of here? And he says, I had a bit of a revelation. He said, I'd invite these people in, 300 people in a row. And he says, I want to hear everything you have to say, but I need you to do me a favor. He said, I want you to point at me while you're telling me. He said, some of them were really intense, pointing at me. Other ones would start dropping their hands. He says, no, keep pointing. And he says, I would listen to everything. He said, anything else, in that, because you got a really good handle on what's going on. And they no, that's it. He says, I need to ask you a couple questions. Number one, how many of your fingers are pointing back at you? 3. He says, you may find this hard to believe, but I understand the problems. I got plenty of problems. What I don't have is solutions. And I don't have resources of people with a passion and a knowledge to handle that. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to go and take 3 solutions to the problem you just laid out and come back here next week at this exact same time. And you tell me the 3 solutions, and you and I are going to decide which one is the best and how we can take care of that. He said, Ken, 300 people came through my door. You know how many came back the next week? 2. Our society has a death grip on the problems, but there's nobody having solutions. And when we take the initiative to say, you know what, I'm going to be a part of the solution. I'm going to take the initiative to do that. I'm not going to do it perfect. I'm sure I'm not going to do it great, but I'm going to do something. I developed a phrase a couple years ago that I've really lived by, and that's simply this: the smallest action is greater than the grandest intention. And I've lived by that. And I can tell you I'm not perfect and I'm not great, but I'm moving forward. And I don't have time to tell you the other 2. You're going to have to buy me another lunch and the really special silver plastic forks again. And I'll do the other 2 another time. But thank you for letting me be a part. This is my home. I am a Kennesaw small business, and you guys are incredible. I hope we cross paths out and about. Please say hey when we do, because let me know how I can help you. And I appreciate you letting me share today. God bless you guys.
That's an extra one to take on.